the beginning I was there, time flowing down my stream in a one-way journey. After Agamemnon broke through the gates of Troy, I brought to my shores his refugees. In the salvation from their wreckage, I got pregnant by the seeds they carried, giving birth to Karun. Our offspring has made home mooring in the water of this new Troy, bridging the lands over a modern Acheron. Destruction was in the logic of the birth of the city. Albion has not been the same after the monument. Although dressed in narratives of progress and improvement, since the fire, history seems to move in reverse. Columns are now only erected in the papers, while towers are risen towards future. In the construction sites, prehistoric monsters break through the ground, their nails tearing it apart, digging up the remnants of the past. It evokes an archaeological site. However, the ruins they are unearthing are in reverse. Jerusalem, Athens, Alexandria, Rome, Vienna, they all seem unreal. The eternity of this city is not in its ruins, but in the perpetual cycle of demolition and renewal. A city that is a monument, not built for the ages, but rather against the ages. The city of no future, whose buildings do not fall into ruins after they are built, but rather rise into ruins before they are erected. It is hard to tell what is being built from what is bulldozed. After Arthur drew his sword from stone, our cities were built within buildings, his city and interior. A search for independence, autonomy, and exiting made the Englishman's home his own castle, his city and interior. Fortresses sprout rampantly, with the Battle of Hastings going on in the streets in between. I myself walked those streets, a desert more solitary than was believable. Under the brown fog of a winter dawn, a crowd flowed over London Bridge. So many. Sighs, short and infrequent, were exhaled, and each man fixed his eyes before his feet, when almost blinded by the constant passing of faces. It was like being in a wheat field, with one's eye on a level with the indistinguishable years. One was alone in one's intense contempt for all these faces. The fire left no standing structure in the city. Its traces were only ashes, but the scar can still be perceived on top of every facade, as marks of weakness, marks of woe. The trauma has never left the city, obsessed with its own perpetuation in history, through a paradoxical construction, a high-tech counterfeit of the city of the immortals, in which everything dies. Every present day is a day after the Great Fire. The people who now walked about the ruins appeared like men in some dismal desert. Nor could one have possibly known where he was, but by the ruins of some church or hall that had some remarkable tower or pinnacle remaining. I knew the end was near, and I was in the perfect stage, a new island of Patmos in which to watch it in high definition. The first angel blew his trumpet, and there followed hail and fire, mixed with blood, which fell on the earth, and a third of the earth was burnt up, and a third of trees were burnt up, and all green grass were burnt up. The second angel blew his trumpet, and something like a great mountain, burning with fire, was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood, a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. The third angel blew his trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, blazing like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the fountains of water. The fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of the light was darkened, a third of the day was kept from shining, and likewise a third of the night. And the fifth angel blew his trumpet, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to earth, and he was given the key of the shaft of the bottomless pit. He opened the shaft of the bottomless pit, and from the shaft rose smoke like the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened with the smoke from the shaft. In those days, man will seek death, and will not find it. They will long to die, and death will fly from them. And the last angel blew his trumpet, and the flames became ashes. And behold, the ashes became the soil for a new ladinium to come.